Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. Sumit 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗍 joins me to tell us a little bit about this new super passport. What exactly is a super passport? Why does one need it? And how did things lead to this point? And before we invite our guests, may I request all of you to like this video, and also if you've not subscribed to our channel, do subscribe to our channel. We're at 435,000 subscribers now, and we need to get to 1 million as soon as possible. So let's welcome Sumit 𝗣𝗽𝗍𝗍. Sumit ji, Ram Ram, how are you?
Namaskar, Pranam, Vanakkam, Ram Ram, Sri Sir, all fine, all great, सब महाकाल का आशीर्वाद है. जी.
News is really running. I mean, I feel breathless these days because there is so much to cover. And viewers, I hope you feel the same way. We are doing our best to give you the best things that happen in a 24-hour period. That is how our formats are. So please always stay tuned to PGurus, and then you will feel like you know what is really happening around the world. Let's go and let's talk about super passport. What is super passport, Sumit ji, and what is the need for this, and how does this affect the world balances?
Sir, in the name of Bhagwan Sri Ganesha, let's do the Sri Ganesha. Om Namo 𝗤𝙗𝙗𝘗𝘗𝑝 Namah. The first and the most important thing what we are going to talk about is it all started with the ambitions of the people, with the greed of the people, with the greed of the deep state to control the world, with the greed of the deep state to control the economy of the world. And as you know, deep state does not believe in boundaries. They believe in relentless control amidst the government in position or out of the position, which is favorable to them or unfavorable to them. So the problem is that billionaires want to become billionaires and more rich, and the poor will become more poor and more poor and more. That is the crux of the whole thing. And when the evolution happens, when we pass through the cycles of evolution, these people come and invent newer ways, newer techniques, and newer tricks to implement their evil designs. That is what we are going to cover today. I would request Sachinji to show that cutting of the newspaper, which emerged, so that we can put a context and to tell people it's not a figment of our imagination. It's not something which we are hallucinating with. This is happening in the real world. Sachinji, if you can put that, cutting of the newspaper.
He's bringing it up. He's bringing it up. And while he's doing that, I just want to give a small update. Hang on a second. Let me come to full screen. I just want to give our viewers a simple update. Viewers, we have reached the limit of getting at least 100 units of Sengol. We have crossed that, and we will be continuing to honor your orders, because once the next 100 fins up, we'll ship you the next 100. So please do get your own Sengol copy. Beautiful, beautiful piece here I have. And here, we are ready now. Can you put up the picture, please? Yeah.
Now, this came up, if you look at it, looks a very innocent piece of news. WHO plans for a global digital vaccine passports funded by Bill Gates and Rockefeller Foundation. On the top of it, good, noble, no problem. But if you read the last paragraph of the newspaper, you will see a different connotation. And what is it going to be? What is this vaccine passport, and what is this all business going to be? And in the same newspaper, we are talking of the Great Reset. Now, Great Reset has two connotations, has two definitions. We are going to cover both. One which we know, one which we do not know. And if Sachinji can enhance the last paragraph. Yeah, zoom in the last paragraph. I will show you that. This is very, very important, because here it talks about it is not able to give a pushing for a new global vaccine passport. Also, the main proponents of so-called Great Reset, a post-human plan outlined by WEF founders Klaus Schwab, and to deneutralize the West, abolish private property, introduce biometric surveillance, and move humanity into the diet of bugs in the name of fighting climate change. So that is the crux. Now we are going to explain all the things of the puzzle. Now, let's take you back a little bit. And let's take you back to the Wuhan virus, or the Chinese virus. What happened and how is this related? When the Chinese virus hit us, there were a couple of things which were happening in the back end in the world around 10 years back, 12 years back, 15 years back. before the virus hit us. So first of all, virus did not evolve. Virus did not come on its own. Virus was not suddenly, a bat. It was a dead bat infected in Wuhan, market, and it infected the whole world. Well, it doesn't happen so often. It doesn't happen like this. Not to say so often. Usually, what happens is even for the viruses to jump the class, from animals to men or from animals to humans, it's a big evolution cycle. It takes hundreds of years. It doesn't happen it doesn't happen like this and infect the whole world. Now, let's go back to the story. There is this Dr. Ralph who in 2002 gets a patent on the COVID virus. He says, I've got a patent on the COVID virus. He named it COVID-19. He experimented on pigs, how the virus will impact and all that. That was happening on the what we call as a research. Now, I will request Sachin ji to show us a picture of 2015 Wuhan labs. You all know Wuhan labs. You all know the Chinese virus, where did it come from. Now, look at this picture and you will see something which is very important.
We are playing catch up a little bit. There you go. Yeah.
So, because people will be surprised to show this picture, let's increase a bit. Who is in Wuhan labs? Dr. Fauci, Melinda Gates, and Barack Obama at Wuhan labs in 2015. Just 4 years before the COVID virus or the Chinese virus hit the whole world. 2015, you are three 𝙤𝙧𝙤𝙪 or three noble souls at the Wuhan lab. Now let's go back into the Wuhan lab. Do you know that Dr. Fauci said, that on oath he has said that we have funded the Wuhan labs. On oath, Dr. Fauci claims that the gain of function research, that is how to increase the potency of the virus, was done in Wuhan labs. He says that. And do you know, American money has went into fund Wuhan lab. That is what we know. But there are 2-3 dimensions to the story which we do not know. The first and the most important dimension which we don't know, one of the main funders, or I can say, even if I can go to say a kind of a owner, not owner, is a company called GSK. It's one of the biggest pharma companies in the world. They have funded Wuhan labs. Some people even claim they own the Wuhan labs practically. Where when you look at the controlling stakes and all. Now, it's a coincidence that the same company also owns Pfizer. The company which has funded Wuhan labs, and when we know Wuhan labs has done gain of function research, which is banned in the United States of America, and US cannot function and cannot put money into any gain of function research. Gain of function ka matlab hai, how does virus become more infectious? How does it is able to attack you faster and get into your human cells faster? That is gain of function research. So here, so far what have we concluded? Wuhan, we have 3 gentlemen. They are just 4 years before the COVID. So Wuhan was not something which we do not know. Wuhan, funded by Dr. Fauci. We have seen Dr. Fauci here. No problem. Wuhan was one of the biggest funders for the GlaxoSmithKline, and the same company funded the one, and the same company owns Pfizer. And by the early of 2019, Pfizer already told us that, they told us that we are working on the COVID virus vaccine. By that time, we do not even know what is COVID virus. Go to Dr. Ralph. 2002, he already got the patent. He did an experiment on pigs. Now, when this all was going, so there was money funded for the gain of function research, which is illegal, but it was done. And the people who came up with the vaccine are the people who are funding the research. Right? It is that virus-antivirus theory. So you want to make a point. Chief.
Sorry, I have to interrupt you because there is more information than what you just referred to. Viewers, there are 300 labs. 300 labs like Wuhan outside of the United States. And part of that funding came, in fact, from the US government. And this is called as gain of function research. How you can make something which is small to become something like a monster. And 2 years ago, I have put out a video saying that since there are doubts about Wuhan being the source of the leak, the United States should immediately shut down all these 300 labs. Guess what? It has not shut down even a single lab. So there is research that has been done. US government did not want to get its hands dirty, which is why they built these labs outside of the United States, and these are all, they need to be shut down like yesterday. And it's the same set of players. One will create the virus, the same guy will also create the vaccine, and then they make a lot of money. This is a very, very sad situation, but it is true. Back to you, sir.
Now, what I was trying to do, I was, because I have 40 minutes, I have to put a big theory into a box of 40 minutes. So when all this was happening, something very interesting was happening in the back end. Do you know who made the Wuhan labs? Who made the facility? Think who? French. George Soros' company, one of the company which is owned and controlled by George Soros. Chalo saab, ye bhi aa gaya. Soros is also into the picture. And when it was happening, now you will ask me a question, Sumit ji, why bats? Bat ko kyun chuna? Why did they choose bats? Bats are mammals. We are also mammals. So if you want to experiment, bat is easier to experiment, and bats fly far-flung areas, so their reach and scope is much higher. So bats were chosen for this. And when this all was happening, there was a concept deep state wanted, and these people wanted a great reset. Reset is what we read here. What is their official definition of the great reset? I'll tell you what is their official definition of the great reset. Their official definition of the great reset is, look, now the economies are devastated, people are devastated. What should we know? We should have a new world order where there should be no private sector. We should, some set of people and government should control everything. Basically, these people should control everything. The private sector should be abolished. Capitalism should be abolished. And this world should be a kind of autocratic setup wherein people are just living their lives on the mercy of some people. And that is what they call the great reset. They say the humanity will be involved. The corporate greed will go. The organizations will not be all driven by profit. They will be driven by humanitarian aspects. I mean, if you look at it, fantastic. You love it. You all love it. Humanity, sab kuch acha hai. All good synonyms are used. But same Mr. Bill Gates, when Prime Minister Modi proposed, let's make the virus, I always remember Chinese virus. Let's make the vaccine an open source so that all the countries can make it. You know who were the first people who opposed it? Who's the man who opposed it to thin air? Mr. Bill Gates. He said, no, it can't be like this. You can't make the vaccine formula open source so that anybody can, pick up the pieces and start manufacturing vaccines. So you find it interesting? You are talking of a vaccine passport now, Bill Gates and Rockefeller. And here, when world was in the pandemic, Prime Minister Modi says we want to make the formula open source. You are opposing it. In the same pandemic, our Bharat Biotech vaccine, how much it was hit. We were not given approvals. After our Prime Minister and the whole cabinet and the Indian Army was inoculated with it, the biggest ever practical field trial of the vaccine happened in India, yet we did not get any approvals. We have been struggling with Bharat Biotech for months because they didn't want India to develop a vaccine. The Pfizer had already developed a vaccine. When WHO called, who can develop the vaccine? You know who is the first respondent? Sir, Pfizer. Pfizer is the first respondent. And if Sachin ji can find not now, you have all the liberty, Sachin ji. If you can find the video of the Pfizer CEO in Davos, when a reporter confronts him, you knew about the shortcomings of the vaccine. You knew this is the disease vaccine can do. Pfizer CEO doesn't even open a mouth. You know all the Pethoras, all the Pandora's box which opened with the Pfizer vaccine, yet he did not open a mouth. I then remember a couple of months back, Dr. Fauci suggested we all should have a shot once a year. What does this mean? 8 billion shots, $10 per shot, $20 per shot, maybe $50 per shot on average. 50 into 8 billion, how much money is that? Just we need to have one shot per year. So you see how it works. Pharma, oil, and arms are the three biggest industries in the world which lobby wants to do. Now, incidentally, to all their misery, to all their surprise, when they were propagating this cause and making sure that the vaccines do not reach, Indian vaccines do not get approval, when India, because of pharmacy of the world, we faced all kind of problems. We were told to import Chinese virus or the vaccine, I don't know what to call it. Chinese virus, I always, virus comes first. Chinese vaccines, Snowpack and all, they didn't get any. COVID-19 booster. Okay, he's propagating the COVID-19 booster. Now, if you see Chinese virus or the vaccine, Chinese vaccine had fatal side effects. It did not get the FDA approval. It did not bother to get the FDA approval. No hurdles, no everything about Chinese vaccine was made public. And you know, as per the information in the public media, there were devastating effects on the Chinese vaccine. And imagine the countries who took a loan from China and got the virus. Got the vaccine, sorry. I am confusing between virus and the vaccine. So Sree said, oh, excuse me today, because I don't know what exactly did they get. Did they get the virus or did they get the vaccine? Or was the virus labeled as vaccine? So God no, China. So this is how it happened. But no problems there. It all went through. Nothing. Chinese vaccine, Chinese vaccine, Chinese. Modi ji, Chinese vaccine low. Modi ji, Pfizer low. Modi ji, say our kids. Modi ji, you have $565 billion in foreign exchange. So why can't you spend $10-20 billion to import the vaccine? How long can we wait to make the vaccine? And there was a politician who became a vaccine scientist. He said it will take at least 15 years to make the vaccine, and then clinical trials will happen, then this will happen. Though nowadays he is suspended from the Rajya Sabha. Well, karma. So, but there suddenly these scientists emerged who knew more biotech than anybody in India. And if you watch the movie Vaccine War, you will have tears at the end of the day. When you see it, what exactly they have gone through. But somehow we survived. We made our vaccine and we made the cheapest vaccine. Now, where did the calculation go wrong? Where did the calculation go wrong? Calculation went wrong. They thought that this COVID will come, vaccines will be controlled by us, and this is a 10-year-old program. 10-year-old will have the dominance. One day, talking of the Great Reset and all those, Alice in Wonderland fundas, what happened? World statistics shows billionaires increased their wealth by 25%. So if they were billionaires, their wealth increased by 25%. And more than 200 million people went into poverty. So the money, it's like this. The money where I am going into the poverty like this, the money from here has went here. So understand, this is a billionaire. I go here, they go up. So the transfer of money happened from the poor to the billionaires. And they wanted this fiasco to continue. If you don't believe me, what I'm saying, and if you don't believe my numbers, I'll ask Sachin ji to play a video by Pfizer VP, Vice President. He was the person who was into thick and thin of it. Look for yourself what he has to say. And whose name is he taking? What does he has to say about this gentleman? Sachin ji, if you can play the Pfizer wala video, that will put some more perspective to the interesting story we're doing. I think we can click it.
Yeah, I'm clicking it. Oops.
So I've learned when people tell you what they're going to do, don't ignore them. So when the UN and Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab tell you that they've got a UN 2030 plan with sustainable development goals, I think there are 17 or 21 of them, and every one of them says you won't be traveling, you won't have a private car, we won't be using international shipping to move goods around, there won't be any flights except military or perhaps very rich people. You won't own anything and you'll be happy. You probably won't live in your own house. You'll be using much less energy for everything, including heating, manufactured goods, and so on. When they tell you that, you should assume that they're serious about it. And so I think COVID has been part one of a multi-act play that's going to take 10 years that will destroy the liberal democracies completely. We've already, if you think living in a democracy, now ask yourself who you could vote for that would change this, because I don't think there's anyone you can vote for anywhere that is guaranteed things. So I don't have an answer, but I'm telling you, I think we're sliding down through the gates of hell. I'm speaking out. There's nothing in it for me. I've lost lots of money, all my friends. I'm away from my home and family, and I'm speaking out because, as I close, I am absolutely sure what I've told.
There you go.
Now, this gentleman is a vice president. Vice president is a very senior position in a corporate where they know how the things are happening. They're telling very clearly they wanted this COVID to continue for 10 years. 10 years. Bill Gates and company had a 10-year program. It was a 10 years program. It was supposed to happen. You will reduce the energy. The people will die. So by the way, people will die. What if you refer to the last paragraph of the of the newspaper cutting? A natural reset will happen. While in the reset which was supposed to happen, which was told was not. That by that time they could siphon all the money. They will control all the energies. All the democracies will be done. Autocratic regimes and the deep state will take over the world. That was the bigger game plan of these people. So they thought, by 10 saal chalega, it will last for 10 years. To all their misery and to all their not liking, the COVID did not last for 10 years. For 2-3 years with the vaccines and all, we humans survived. We lost a lot of people. We lost a couple of million people. And the United States of America was one of the countries which lost the maximum amount of people, right? No, we lost the maximum amount of people. So now here you see the game. Sree sir, here is the interesting part of the game. Lost already people. And this video which I'm mentioning, Sachinji, was when he was in Davos. He was in World Economic Forum Davos. He was confronted by, I don't have that handy with me, otherwise I would have sent you. It was when he was in Davos. Not a problem. If we can find it, it's okay. Otherwise,
we're looking for it. We're looking for it.
No problem. Now, sir, what happened? So COVID did not last for 10 years. So whatever their plan was, this did not go. And now I would like Sachinji to play one more clip. This is 2018, United States of America. Dr. S. Ralph, who has a patent.
The Ebola outbreak, there was about an 8 to 10% drop in the market. It then quickly recovered. I wanted to give you good news. There are winners out there, right? So if you're looking at, if you want to be prepared and make money in the next pandemic, if that's what you want to do, buy stock in hazmat suit makers and protective clothing, or companies that make antiviral drugs for that particular pandemic. You'll probably do pretty well. There are actually mutual funds for pandemic preparedness. You can bet on anything in this country. Some products do well. 1918, including masks, same thing today. Pandemics really are times of opportunity, and I like George R.R. Martin's quote of chaos is a ladder. There's an opportunity for people to have political gain, financial gain, and personal gain during times of social upheaval, and that will probably occur. There will be misleading stories on social media, miracle cures that will be touted, conspiracy theories. One thing that is kind of new, you could probably buy and order your own vaccine on the internet for about $200 now. So you can buy your own vaccine and probably vaccinate yourself. If you have a little bit of knowledge, and most likely somebody will come up with a scheme to sell that in a safe, in a legal way, not a.
Sir,
Fascinating.
You have to watch it, because I remember I have done. Here's the World Economic Forum. Okay, I don't know, it's the same video, but let's play.
It is basically biological chip that it is in the tablet, and once you take the tablet and dissolves into your stomach, sends a signal that you took the tablet. So imagine the applications of that, compliance, the insurance companies to know that the medicines that patients should take, they do take them. It is fascinating what happens in this field. It is
we still need to get the right one. We are looking for it. There is actually, I remember in Davos, one
he was walking. It is snow around. The person is trying to show a mic to his ear. He says, you know about it. He didn't prepare anything about. If you go to Dr. Ralph's video, what does he say? He says pandemic is a good opportunity to make money. I remember, sir, during the COVID, we had a debate on NewsX. I was on this. This was a national primetime debate. I remember this video very, very clearly. So there were a couple of takeaways from this. First of all, pandemic is a good business. Pandemic, you can create the social evil and the catastrophe is an opportunity to make money. You can make money on hazmat suits. You can make money on PPs. You can make money on these things. The question I asked even on the TV, what I'm going to ask today: how did he know the next pandemic was a transferable epidemic? It was a respiratory pandemic. Pandemic can be even in intestines. Pandemic can be even which is not contagious. TB can be a pandemic. Malaria can be a pandemic. Anything can be a pandemic. So how do you know that there's a respiratory tract pandemic? Because that's why you're talking PPEs, hazmat suits, and masks. How do you know the pandemic is contagious if you don't know anything about the virus? How do you know it is not going to be malaria or a typhoid, but it is going to be something like COVID? And how do you know that the people can order their vaccines online at $200 per shot? $200 per shot. Imagine $200. I am imagining the half of the population of the world could only afford it. 200 into 4 billion is how much, sir? I don't know the Ganit. I don't know the mathematics. How much is 2? Somebody can do it on the audience. How much is $200 into 4 billion? And the balance 4 billion who could not afford the vaccine, they will be gone. So a reset of the world will happen. Democracies will collapse. Private sector will collapse. Autocracies and the deep state will take on the world. And you were supposed to buy vaccine for $200 online. Only rich and privileged and very privileged could buy the vaccine. Maybe for me to buy a vaccine for my family for around $1,000 would not be an easy task. I'm not rich. But these people thought they will sell it for $200 per shot. And how much did India sell the vaccine for? India sold the vaccine for around $3. So, कहते हैं ना हिंदी में दिल के आरमा आंसुओं में बह गए. They're all the dreams, all the hopes went through the drain. They thought $200 per shot in 10 years. That was their game plan. $200 per shot, 10 years, only half of the people will be able to get it. So by the time half of the people will be eliminated by COVID, the world will be in a catastrophe. Automatic reset will happen. What will we do? We will get 10 years time to control all the regimes, control all the resources, and make people sure that if even you're able to get food and water, बहुत बड़ी बात है. You're already doing great. Kill all your aspirations. Control the goddamn world's economy. That is what the bigger game plan was. Right? This is what we called as a great reset. And I'll request Sachinji to show some pictures of these vaccine players. These vaccine this one. Exactly this one.
Well, can I ask you, when did you know that the vaccines didn't stop transmission? How long did you know that without saying it publicly?
Thank you very much.
I'm sorry. Answer that question. I mean, we now know that the vaccines didn't stop transmission, but why did you keep it secret? You said it was 100% effective, then 90%, then 80%, then 70%. But we now know that the vaccines do not stop transmission. Why did you keep that secret?
Have a nice day.
I won't have a nice day until I know the answer. Why did you keep it a secret that your vaccine did not stop transmission?
Is it time to apologize to the world, sir? To give refunds back to the countries that poured all their money into your vaccine that doesn't work, your ineffective vaccine?
Yeah, you have a little bit around.
Are you not ashamed of what you've done in the last couple of years?
Do you have any apologies to the public, sir?
Are you proud of it? You've made millions on the backs of people's entire livelihoods. How does that feel to walk the streets as a millionaire on the backs of the regular person at home in Australia, in England, in Canada?
What do you think about on your yacht, sir? What do you think about on your private jet? Are you worried about product liability? Are you worried about myocarditis?
What about the sudden deaths?
What do you have to say about young men dropping dead of heart attacks every day?
Now,
You get
from the
the
horse's
idea.
mouth.
Yeah.
Sir, from the horse's mouth. We are not casting any aspersions. We are not suggesting anything. Look, this man is confronted by the Western media in Davos. What about your private jet? What about your goddamn yacht? And we are telling the world, these are the white-collar people. They want to reset the world. They want to make it human-centric. That is why the whole cabal comes after Prime Minister Modi, who introduces a vaccine for $3. $3. Made in XM vaccine, approval mat do. Don't give the approval. Cast aspersions, cast doubts, have those Getty images up. Go to a crematorium ground and do the pictures. They show how many people are dying. Modi is going to do the virus eclipse. Modi is going to do this. Millions of Indians are going to die. Get a goddamn third-rater from an American NGO, and he will tell you 50 million people will die in India. This was carried by some of the mainstream media channels. How many million Indians are going to die? And how many are we going to die? How India is going to be devastated? How world is going to be devastated? I'm talking of India. Forget my friends Africa. Forget South America. Forget the poorer countries. Forget the Caribbeans. Now, this is what the game plan was. This is what the big reset was. And what is the efficacy of the virus? If you go through, there was a tweet by Elon Musk sometimes back. He tweeted, you can find it still on his handle. It started from 95% and today, God knows how much it is. And still Dr. Fauci is saying we should have a shot every year. Wow, Dr. Fauci, good. And Dr. Ralph, $200 per shot. Sir, $200 per shot. Has somebody done the mathematics? How much is $200 into 4 billion and how much is $200 into 8 billion? I don't know how many 100 billion are we talking about. Where is that money? You're talking $500 billion. You're talking about $1 trillion, here and there. So that was for people who cannot afford die. Upar, khatam. That is what the bigger plan is. Then eventually when this, and why did you, Mr. Bill Gates, oppose when the Prime Minister Modi proposed that the vaccine formula should be made open source? Anybody should be able to use it. We as India saved the whole world. We as India liberated the world. We saved people from HIV, and we as India, the pharmacy of the world, under Prime Minister Modi's leadership, did what we had to do to save the whole world. And you people, when you are confronted by your own people, you don't have answers, you're shying. And I like the report. He called questions. What about the people who are dead? What about people who are getting heart attacks? What about your private yachts, sir? What about your private planes, sir? Do you have soul inside your body? This is what is called blatant hypocrisy. Story doesn't end here. I'll take you to the next correct. So remember, Mr. Bill Gates opposed it. Now this is the vaccine cabal. Here is a picture in Wuhan. These are the Chinese gang. This is the Chinese gang. And here who you see? Ralph Baric. See? And you know Ralph Baric is the same guy whose video which you saw was from $200. People will die. Pandemic is great business. Next pandemic is going to be respiratory. He knew about it. Nobody knew. He knew about it. He knew what it is because he wanted to make $200 per shot. $200 per shot. Who cannot afford? Upar. Now see the cabal. See the cabal here is. And incidentally, you know who was heading the Wuhan lab? It was not a virologist. There was two PLA generals who were heading the Wuhan labs. Wuhan lab is supposed to be a virological business. What will be a person who's good at firing RPGs and LMGs? How is he going to manage a virology lab? Don't you find, is there a bigger oxymoron than this? Basically, this was a secret covert operation. They know what they were developing. And these all stories from a Wuhan fish market, wet market, it started. No, there are a lot of things which animals get infected, but how many times do they jump the Shreni, jump the class? It doesn't happen so often. So now, as we don't have a lot of time, I have to conclude also. So this is how the things evolved. This is how their plan was. So plan was 10 years, half of the world dead. They control everything. All the private sector gone, all the democracy is gone. Autocracies and deep state control the world. And you are happy if you're breathing and alive. Don't ask for more. Just pay your taxes, buy our stuff, make us richer. And even in this 2-3 years, billionaires increased their wealth by 25% and 200 million people became poor. So the work moved from these poor people who are below the poverty line and they went to the people who are richer already. And Mr. Bill Gates opposed the virus to be open source. Let's not kid ourselves on that. Now the same Mr. Bill Gates, incidentally, around a month or 3 months back, I saw some news around a month, 1.5, which rang a bell in my head. You know, my head is a bit sensitive. Radars are. He said he is putting money. I think there's a company in Mexico which is going to do some genetic modification of the mosquito. And by that mosquito, they are going to counter vector-borne diseases. It rang me a bell. I said, what is his business what is his ideas in the, what is his business in the mosquito business? And let's not forget, when you talk of Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you think they do a lot of work in Africa and all. No. Sir, go deep into it. The work is only done in where are the emerging markets for Microsoft. The work they do is only where are the emerging markets for Microsoft. 98% of the money goes there. So the emerging market may be in Africa. Once upon a time it was India. Once upon a time it might be Pakistan. It might be Somalia. It might be Panama. The money will go there. So don't kid ourselves. Who is one of the most influential persons of on planet Earth is Bill Gates. There's no doubt about it. And people claim he's a part of the deep state. I mean, if you look at it, there are various charts available. How is controlled, how is linked with Soros and all that. But this is happening in our free world, and this is happening in our free world. Now, incidentally, when this this mosquito thing came to me, what the hell is happening? And my doubt comes to 4 days back or 10 days back. Suddenly, I read a piece of news, just a small snippet. The next epidemic, first it's epidemic, then it goes to pandemic, or pandemic will be vector-borne. Mosquito aa gaya, fir se. Mosquitoes will start a disease which will be epidemic and possibly going to the pandemic. That is what WHO told us, I think 10 days back hardly. Now join the dots. And when this is all happening, These people very nicely walk up to WHO, say, let's have an international vaccine certificate. What is this vaccine certificate? What is the super passport? We come to that. So you understood malaria, you understood vector, you understand mosquito, regenerating mosquitoes, and if I remember correctly, these mosquitoes were, pushed on some African tea or a Florida in America. I'm not sure on that, to see how do they control so-called malaria and vector-borne diseases. So somebody is trying to control vector-borne disease, but the WHO now comes and says the next epidemic or pandemic is going to be vector-borne and related to what the videos I have shown you and the dots I have connected. Now, do you see a pattern? Yes, you see a pattern. It doesn't end here. Now, where did they go wrong? They went wrong in one thing. World could cope up with the virus very, very fast. India did the fantastic work, saved the whole world by coming up with a vaccine which was viable, effective, and fast. I compliment India and Prime Minister Modi for that. But now they have a problem. Now what do they want? Now, there were Chinese hackers who stole the data from AIM servers. Why? They wanted to understand which kind of people with which type of DNA and characteristics were immune to the virus, which were not. Where did the vaccine affect fast, and how did it work, and how did it do? So data will tell you a lot of things. These people went to the WHO, Rockefellers, very nice gentlemen, Bill Gates, both Sharifas. They went to the WHO and said, let's have a vaccine, international vaccine passport. What is a vaccine passport? Vaccine passport is a super passport. There will be international vaccine passport. Every 8 billion people are supposed to have it. Now, if you want to travel from one country, you have your passport. This is my passport. Example. This is my passport. Right? No, this is your Indian passport. Sir, where is your vaccine passport? I said, what vaccine passport? You need a vaccine passport. You need to be sure that you have all the vaccinations in place. Why do we need that? So without a vaccine passport, you cannot travel. Without a vaccine passport, you may not be considered fit to work. Without a vaccine passport, some companies will not employ you. Without a vaccine passport, you cannot travel inland the country. So what is it being done? Related with Cisco, Sree sir will validate this. When Cisco came into business, Cisco was an IP company. People said Cisco invented IP. They did all the things. So, and I agree. I myself, I'm an MCSC, CCNA, CCDA by training. So I know Cisco is doing fantastic work. Now, when Cisco did all the work around IP, who set the standards on the global IP level? Cisco. Who set the routing protocol? Cisco. Who set the routing algorithms? Cisco. Who set the routing patterns? Cisco. Who did SNMP and MIPS, open MIPS? I'm using a bit technical terms. It was all done by Cisco. So Cisco was the company which was defining the IP standards. Anything with IP, Cisco is the by de facto company who will determine everything. You have to follow what Cisco says. It's as simple as that, and even in the world today. Now, this vaccine passport will be the new passport of your health and wellness. And if you are health and wellness, you can go to the world, you can be economically involved, or you can be taken out of the work, can be taken out of any, you can be restricted. And with that, what do these gentlemen get? They get all your information. They get all information using big data and Hadoop and data analytics. They can exactly see what are the ailments, what will happen now, what is the vulnerabilities. And looking at the mosquitoes around, God knows we might have a super mosquito. You must have all heard about a super bug. And there was a lot of rumors that Indian hospitals have a super bug. And we had to work really, really hard to deflate that. Now, a super mosquito might be developed because you have all the data points, you have all the things, you know what will affect. So whatever could not be done earlier, 3 year plan khatam ho gaya. Within 3 years, the plan got sculpted, and Prime Minister Modi, very bad guy, he got a vaccine for $3 and saved the world. No. So now let's build something which will take 10 years, where you cannot bring a vaccine, where you cannot have a remedy, because you have now understood all the data patterns, all the information on the world. Because when you will do this, what you call vaccine passport, then you have to give all your information, your date of birth, everything, vaccinated, not vaccinated, problems. So when I put it in big data, Hadoop and data analytics, the people who know what to do with the data, they can exactly pull what I want. I know the trends, I know the things. Now let me plan a bug which is invincible. So this super passport will exceed your passport, will exceed your nationality, will be your license to live. So what I'm trying to control, I'm trying to control your license to live. I'm trying to control your license to earn. I'm trying to control your license to travel. I'm trying to control your license to exist. Your license to participate in the economy, your license of being fit, declared fit or unfit. I can be declared unfit due to some variations. And when the super passport becomes the name of the game, I can set the rules of the game. I can change them, I can alter them, I can tweak them. Okay, I say, for Africa, this is the criteria. For America, this is the criteria. Oh, India, oh, this is the criteria. We need all these things. Because India, there is a lot of unhygienic water, There are a lot of sanity challenges, and there are a lot of, I can use all the English around it and change the parameters as per country, as per continent. So I will hold the economies, I will hold the government, I will hold the people to ransom. I will hold them to my whims and fancies, and I will start dominating their lives. This is exactly what is done in communism. What does communism mean? You are just there living, working to earn money and run the Communist Party of China and run the communism. So this communism, remember, eliminate private sector, eliminate private property. So I'm just living and producing energy, the concept of the movie Matrix, so that these bigger people's ecosystem can keep on running. They can never get poor because there is no way they can get poor now. Their wealth multiplies, their power multiplies, their revenues multiplies, their revenue influence multiplies, everything about them multiplies, and they control the whole world. This is what is the concept of super passport. When I look through this, the first thing, what I got that it is super passport. Today, we don't have a lot of time. I wanted to go more on it, but I promise I'll come back and do more because we have a show at 9:30 and we're going to discuss Pakistan. A lot of revelations about Pakistan. Do tune in at 9:30. So, Sree sir, we have to take some questions because we are running out of time.
Here we go. The first question is from 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙪 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝙀𝘁𝘀. How much longer before the emergence of political movements that call for establishing sovereign Sharia homelands in UK and EU?
That depends upon how long the people will not react. If people hit the roads tomorrow, it will never happen. But if people are in the comfort of their drawing rooms and their jacuzzis and their saunas and their, what all, well, it will happen pretty fast. You look in Brussels. There's already a political party where you have, I think, 7 or 9% Muslim population in Brussels. They're already talking of implementing Sharia law. I mean, this is not what I'm casting aspersions. This is the reality of life. It's up to you. I have seen in Spain, yesterday people have hit the roads and said Spain is Christian, not Muslim. But kudos to Spain, they hit the roads. You have to hit the roads. You have to. Your government will only back you if there are mass movements. These people hit the roads. They make it a mass movement. Can you make it? Can you counter it? You have the numbers on your side. You want to use the numbers for your existence? They will. Or you want to be in the comfort of your drawing rooms and be busy with LGBT issues and wokeism and Black Lives Matter and all the things in the world. How many says 72 genders? I think the latest I read, we have 72 genders. So if you're busy with that, then God save you.
There are cities in UK which is believed that only Sharia runs, at least neighborhoods where only Sharia runs in UK already. People say that some areas of Birmingham, for example, that's what happens. I don't know. I've never been there, but this is what I've heard. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaskarji, what explains the attitude of the West and many others too towards Islamists and acceptance of refugees when the Islamic world itself doesn't accept them?
It is the policy of more loyal than the king. It's the policy of self-proclaimed liberty and high human values. It is the policy of human rights. It's the policy of democracy, which is not bad. But these systems are using your revenues against you. That is what Shinzu taught them. How to use the systems of your own liberty and fraternity, which are good against your interest. What did the Acharya Chanakya say? Acharya Chanakya said, you should get refugees, but don't let them mix into the mainland. Keep them separate for the mainland, nourish them, help them, and send them back. That is what Acharya Chanakya had to say. And let me remind you, sir, one important thing. I'll take a pause. One important thing. Everybody, please have your attention. Acharya Chanakya also told us that if a son is born from the womb of a foreign woman, he can never take decisions for the nation which are pro-nation. This is what Acharya Chanakya said. So join the dots, relate the things, and see what you are doing. It's if somebody is making its own Frankenstein, I have nothing to say.
Next one, please. Kunal Arora wants to know, will RFID chips inside humans become more common in future for tracking everyone's movements anywhere?
Well, honestly, RFID is not a technology which can do it even today. And I don't think there are any advancements in the RFID which can do it. But there might be some nano-based technologies, some mini microchips which are being talked about today. The chips are as small as they can flow with the bloodstream and not get stuck anywhere. That is the nanotechnology I'm talking about. So if they become a reality and if they can transmit data to the IoT devices, wherein IoT devices will ultimately transfer it to the data scientists or the big data Hadoops, then these big data and Hadoops will not be able to kind of watch everybody per per person, but at a macro level, at a community level, you'll be able to trade and trade everything. By the way, you are already doing it voluntarily by putting everything on social media. So social media is already doing it. Don't worry, they are already tracking you. I read somewhere this phone of mine. It's an iPhone, not particularly. So it has 57 sensors. It can know you are happy, what is your mood and all. So this thing, I believe, has 57 sensors. When I read about it, I was that. So we are already too much exposed. So now, today we are doing it voluntary. Now the only phase we will have time come, we will do it involuntary. That's where I see a difference.
So let me add one thing. Kunal, one of the pacemakers, you know what a pacemaker is? A pacemaker is actually implanted. It's an electronic device implanted on your heart to make sure that the heart is pumping blood at a regular rate. This is called as a pacemaker. Why is it a pacemaker? When the heart slows down, it discharges some kind of chemical that makes the heart to again start pumping up again. So this pacemaker, one or two models, I don't remember the exact number, when some of them had Wi-Fi access. And this Wi-Fi port was open, which means, you know how you are trying to connect to Wi-Fi from your smartphone? You will give you the name. And one of the names will be pacemaker. And you connect to that, that means essentially from your smartphone, you can control the pacemaker. So this was found. Yes. So you understand now. Imagine if Ajit gets his hands on this. Next one. KK wants to know, Sumit Peer, impact of Israel-Hamas war on Ukraine-Russia war.
Ukraine war is slowing down. I saw a very interesting video of Mr. Ramaswamy, whom I like a lot. He said there's a comedian in cargo pants. I mean, that sums up all. Comedian in cargo pants. Maskara 6 pocket wala. Hindi mein bolu to.
He's really sharp. Yesterday, his debate, he was really taking pot shots at everyone. I mean, he said, no, I'm not taking any prisoners anymore. So watch that video. He came out fine.
Even on Nikki Haley, he told us, your daughter uses TikTok. And she was talking about TikTok. Your daughter uses TikTok. What are you talking about here? You want the future American minds to be impacted by Chinese propaganda? Well, then, I mean, have the courage to say it at least. I don't know, can Vivek make it or not? But what I like is he has a very clear thought process. And he doesn't mince his words.
Yes, sir. He does not. Thank you, 𝗤𝙧𝙤𝘆. Next one. Chaitanya Takle wants to know, is Bill Gates trying to push big pharma in Asia and Africa in the name of healthcare?
Big pharma is always pushing itself. Now, it's not a question of pushing, Chaitanya ji. It's the question of dominance. It's the questions of control. Remember, pharma controls around 7.5% of the global GDP. If it becomes 15 or 18, this will be the biggest sector in the human evolution. And if you are happy, if you're sad, if you're rich, you're poor, you're a billionaire, or you're a pauper, you still need a medicine. And you remember the video where I was doing this. He wanted to sell a shot for $200. $200 per shot. So everybody needed at least $400 to get, saved from the COVID. A family of 5, $2,000. Imagine how many people in the world would have been eliminated by now as a natural process.
Next question, please. Get Travel wants to know, sir, we talk about India being $10 trillion economy. How will the balance of the environment and industrialization go hand in hand and impact after 30 years of heavy industrialization?
India is the only country, sir, which talks about sustainable development, sustainable way of life. That is what Sanatan teaches us. Sanatan is the only way of life which talks about economy and ecology in the same breath. We worship earth, we worship river, we worship plant, we worship tree, we worship air, we worship water. So we don't take it that these are for granted. This is my grandfather left it for me. No. We have to, what does worship mean? We say by the balance of 5 elements, earth, water, soil, air and water, air, earth and fire. The life is possible on earth. Panch tattva jise hum kehte hain. So we understand the logic. So we will be working on sustained development. We are not mad at industrialization like China. We will develop what we need. That is called why Vasudevam Kutumbam come. And human-centric development takes a forefront in our approach of things, not only greed and profit.
Next one, please. Saurabh Jain wants to know, what are we doing in defense modernization Agniveer impact, lesson learned from Israel-Hamas conflict.
Saurabh ji, what I can tell you, in last 9-10 years after Prime Minister Modi has taken the office, and if you talk to even to some of the ex-generals and all who have held very senior posts, and I have the privilege of, getting along with them on a couple of debates every day. But I can tell you it's a sea change. What we could not imagine that has been, and if you look at the elimination of the Ordnance Factory Board, if you look at making defense corridors, close companies, dozens of missiles have been tested. Now we are almost self-sufficient on everything. We built the aircraft carrier, we built the LCA, LCH, ammunitions, nuclear powered Arihant. We have done more than 60 or 200 missile tests. We are a nuclear triad. So a lot of things are happening. And let me tell you, Agniveer is a fantastic program. I can't go more into it, but what I can tell you, because we are running out of time, but what I can tell you, sir, Mr. Jain, Agniveer will create your reserves. And by the way, 50% of the people will be absorbed in Agniveer now. It's no longer 25, it's 50%. And the 50% who are out and doing a lot of other things and jobs, they are your ready-made reserves. So within 10 years, you will have millions of reserves. Push comes to shove, we'll have the biggest ever trained army in the world. So what did Hamas teach you? Every Israeli was a soldier. That's why you can fight. We don't, because India is 1.4 billion. Everybody doesn't have to train. But if we have a few million reserves, 20, 30, 50 million reserves, and we have an active army, we are good enough to take anybody on the planet. Nobody can with us. Agniveer is this right step in the right direction.
India Inside with Junaid asks Sumit, while you are discussing the super passport, Pakistani citizens are not getting passports amid lamination paper shortage being imported from France due to unsettled earlier dues. Wow.
Junaid bhai, you stole the thunder out of my argument. This is what I was going to talk in the next section. But anyway, I have a lot of due. No problem. Now, the next thing I want to tell you, why do Pakistanis need passport? You don't need passport. You can jump the border. You can go, because Iran has opened the gates of jihad. You can go to your Irani border. What is that border called? I forgot. Not Turkmen. There's one more. Chaman border. I think Chaman border. You can go to Chaman border. Tell bhai jihad karna. They will let you go through. So passport ka zarurat kya hai? So lamination, no lamination, not required. Pakistanis can go anywhere. You go in a ship. You go in a container. You go as you go into those what do you call those ships, containers. You even travel on the wings of an airplane. You hold the wings of an airplane and travel. So people of Pakistani people's caliber don't need passports, Junaid ji. Why don't you need passports? Chote log ko chahiye. We useless people like us need. Pakistan, all of Iran, seedha jihad.
Deepankar Pathak wants to know, was UFO disclosure things brought up to divert attention from the Wuhan virus case?
Wuhan virus, as I explained today, Wuhan virus was a 10-year project. And the way to eliminate democracies and to have autocratic rule and deprive people of all their basic rights, let's make them living cells producing energy. If you watch the movie Matrix carefully, that is what the concept of the Matrix is, because they say that humans produce energy, this energy will be tapped, and this energy will be used to run the alien world so aliens can have a nice time. That is what the Matrix was about. So this is something like that. They got the idea from the movie Matrix, and that is what they were trying to do. But unfortunately, this Prime Minister Modi, he made the vaccine for $3 and India supplied the vaccine to the whole world. This whatever could last for 10 years and this $200 per shot, dil ke arma aansuon mein beh gaye. That is what happened to them.
And thank you so much, Himanshu Pandit, and you've become a YouTube member of PGurus. And viewers, like I said, Sengol, the first 100 units is being shipped now, and the next lot has started. If you want to order it, please go ahead and do it. But I just wanted to tell you and thank you all for your resounding support to be part of history, to be part of culture, to be part of heritage. So thank you so much, and we'll be back in half an hour to talk about our favorite neighbor, Pakistan. Sumit ji, we'll be back again. Namaskar. Thank you so much, sir.
Namaskar. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, and sir, Har 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 Mahadev.